Two lifelong Houston sports guys named Adam, talking your teams.
World Series!
Adam Clanton and Adam Wexler are the A-Team.
4 o'clock, halfway point of today's edition of the A-Team, halfway to getting you to Astros on deck as they prepare for Game 2 of the final series of the season against the Rangers, beating them last night, getting a half game closer to the Mariners, and pushing another game in between them and the Rangers, a little bit after 7 o'clock for first pitch there. And it is the morning after Week 2 in the NFL. 2 Monday night games last night to put a close to the week. The Texans, one of a handful of 0-2 football teams after falling last night by 1 point. And we welcome in Sports Talk 790 and KPRC, Channel 2 insider for the Texans, Aaron Wilson, who, like ourselves here, Cole, myself, you, and many others, have had a chance to talk to D'Amico twice after last night's game. CJ and a host of others inside the Texans locker room. Aaron, we've heard a lot of what we heard from them yesterday over the 3 years that D'Amico's been here and over these close games that have maybe not gone their way, but specific to the offense and them saying, well, we need to find a rhythm and we need to do this. And I don't know how much more rhythm you're going to find than what they did to bolt out of the gates. And even though they only got a field goal, 2 drives, 2 scores for a team that struggled so much, and then they fell into the, well, now we can't do anything offensively. What do you think happened to start the game so well and then almost immediately fall back into, well, if we get to third down, you know a punt's coming?
The adjustments, really, that's the devil's in the details. And you look at what a veteran defensive coach like Todd Bowles can do, I think that's a big one. You look at how people change their scheme, they see what you're going to run, and then it's coaching, it's strategy, and it's really the way football should be. And the Texans, this is not something they excel at. This is something that a lot of their opponents do. They've run into 2 playoff caliber teams that they just weren't as good as. I don't think they were as well coached as. They've gotten to a point now, Adam, where this is kind of what's expected from the Texans. They're not going to be even considered a good team anymore, or a solid team, if they don't start beating some good teams. And that does not mean beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. That means beating teams like the Rams and the Buccaneers. And I think you've got to be very realistic about what the Texans are. They're the lowest scoring team in the NFL. They are a winless team. They are the only team in the NFL that does not have a red zone touchdown. I think, they've got to take a long, hard look in the mirror, and they got to be honest with themselves that it's not good enough. And if the only hope is that the offensive line starts to gel, or having Christian Kirk back, that all of a sudden maybe that takes a little bit of pressure off of Nico Collins. But I just don't know if that's quite enough. I think they need to very seriously consider the trade market when it comes to the offensive line. I think they still need more help at tight end, because Kate Stover had surgery. We don't know when he'll be back. I think some point later in the season, but is he going to be 100%? Just can't tell.
You mentioned the trade market with regards to the offensive line. Immediately my ears perk up because I like the sound of that. I was screaming at the top of my lungs all offseason to address the offensive line more than just kind of patchwork. And I think they did with one of their draft picks, but it's almost like a franchise quarterback. Who is going to have an offensive lineman stashed or willing to part ways with him in order to improve the Texans? And how would that trade even come about with what the Texans would have to end up offering? I'm assuming draft picks.
Right, draft picks or a good defensive player is typically the only way you can do that. And in my opinion, it's very difficult to pull off a good player-for-player trade. I don't think anybody necessarily wants to help you, but if you've got an asset they're interested in, where's the depth though? I mean, even when we talk about the good positions, it's not like they have 3 of them. I mean, I look at linebacker a little bit. I feel like EJ Speed, is a good player, but I mean, how much are you netting in return for him? Is it kind of a backup, like a good swing tackle, that kind of thing? I mean, I kind of would like to see Trent Brown when Trent. I know that he's not really quite there yet from a conditioning standpoint, coming off the patellar tendon, but maybe late in the season we'd want to see him.
Something that will obviously if they can. Again, why they waited till the season, I have no idea. C.J. Stroud's definitely going to be the talking point no matter what's going on, good, bad, or otherwise, and he certainly is after 2 games so far this season. Same thing I said about the offense in general. He came out cooking. 5 of 7 in the first quarter, 105 yards, the 10 points, the 2 scoring drives to open up the game, and a pass that Nico Collins hauls in for a touchdown. And then he looked terrible. 8 of 17 over the final 3 quarters. He threw for fewer yards in the final 45 minutes than he did in the first 15. He's lucky Levante David dropped the interception he threw right to him, and he was missing open targets. What do you see in CJ in the very beginning of year 3?
I feel like there's some regression from all of the hits he's taken. We've seen this story before, right? You see it happen with the car brothers. You see it happen with a lot of people that have been hit too often, and eventually what happens is they get gun shy, and they start expecting the hit, or they think they have to bail out of plays because they're going to get hit. And they throw the ball too soon, or they scramble too much, or they overthink it. And, instead of just delivering the pass, he's trying to place it, and what you're seeing is these wild incompletions. I mean, what he did there, that looked like a guy that's kind of emotional to me in, these plays. And he's a better quarterback than that. And I think to say anything else would be to baby him. And, I have too much respect for him to do that. I think he's someone that you have to really, treat like he's a serious quarterback. And that's how I take him. Know that, you maybe never let him see a sweat at the press conference, that kind of thing. But my understanding, he's concerned about the offense, upset about the performances. And there's a frustration factor because he's a human being, and I think he's sincerely trying very, very hard. If anything, perhaps pressing a little bit. To me, he's got to relax. He's got to have better support around him. And the blitz protection, Darga Boale, that's not it. I think they need much better running back play all around. And they tried to adjust by having Damian Pierce be a healthy scratch, reported before the game, and British Brooks was up for special teams, but that's not the answer to help the offense. I'm just not sure if they have enough at the running back position. We don't expect any reinforcements coming from Joe Mixon anytime soon, if ever. So this is the offense. And how they kind of talk themselves into thinking this would work, I don't know. Because they know personnel better than we do. You can talk yourself into anything, but it just doesn't, even on paper, sound very good.
Yeah, the offensive line it's just made me want to put my head through a brick wall for a long time now. And I guess what is the most frustrating is Caserio does make good picks in other areas on both sides of the ball, but particularly on the defensive side of the ball and in late rounds.
Right.
But not having, I guess, a little bit more urgency, taking both receivers from Iowa State, that right there. I don't know what went into all those decisions, but I guess I felt like there would be more of a sense of urgency with regards to the offensive line in the draft, even having picked, an Ursary.
It's just a very, very confusing situation because, he's a smart guy and he's seen good offensive linemen before, like when he was with the Patriots. They had guys. They had Sebastian Vollmer. They had lots of guys. This doesn't look like that.
Is there an opportunity for?
I don't know what they can do about it at this point. I think Ursary will be a good lineman. That's my opinion. That's many people's opinion. But I'm not seeing that sort of hope for their other second-round picks, Blake Fisher or Drew Scruggs. And their actions don't just speak volumes. They will yell at you. We don't want to play these guys under any circumstances. So if that's what you're saying in your actions, you don't want to play them, you'd rather have a big line shuffle rather than insert Drew Scruggs, who used to be a starter for you, I think it says a lot. It's really saying it's an indictment of these draft picks. It's not their fault. They didn't ask to be picked in the second round. No, he picks the players. So it's got to get better. And at some point, there's got to be some accountability for it. You've got to look at, okay, well, what's our process? What are we doing with that evaluation as opposed to how great they have been at drafting and developing corners and safeties and the defensive end position, or free agents like Hunter. So, in fairness, they'd had a lot of hits, or getting something out of Joe Mixon, really, for not very much. So there's been a lot of personnel successes, but it is hard to say the offensive line, that that's a success. And in retrospect, hindsight being 2020, wouldn't you rather have Laremy Tunsil to go with some of these new players instead of doing the trade? Regardless of the fact that he wanted a new contract and he had a lot of penalties.
Even after 2 weeks,
Tunsil than they are now.
Yeah, even after 2 weeks and the two offensive line performances, I'm not going to say yes to that. I would actually still say no. It's less about moving on from Tunsil and more about, well, why didn't you get good players? Losing Tunsil doesn't prevent you from adding talent. And it doesn't have anything to do with who you missed out on the draft. It has to do with saying, oh, this guy got benched in Minnesota. Let's trade for him. Well, this guy isn't wanted in Minnesota or Jacksonville. Well, let's go sign him. Oh, this guy's played out the string as the worst offensive lineman on his team for the last 5 years. Well, let's sign him. And they're all starting for the Houston Texans. We could go on and on and on about the same problem this team has had for a long, long time. We'll catch another visit with you and maybe focus on a different area of the team. We'll be back out on the practice field with the team tomorrow, so we'll see you out there as well. Aaron, always appreciate the time here with us, the reporting, and everything you got going on. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. So good to talk to you. Appreciate you guys. Keep up the great work. The A-team is a must-listen. Anybody out there that's listening, make sure you keep it locked with these guys.
And cutting a promo for us on his birthday. What a guy. We'll catch you back here on the A-Team on the other side. A few more things to get to this hour. Obviously from the ballpark with Joe Espada meeting with the media. Signature segment is Say What? But yeah, the update on Yordan Alvarez. Can't wait to hear it next.
The A-Team on Sports Talk 790.